Warm greetings from Jaya School of Architecture. Today we are in the 16th session of this DECODE series, and we have a very interesting topic to be discussed today, to be presented today as such. The topic is going to be architectural alchemy in a nutshell by architect Golak Kanduval. I now welcome architect Nived, who is currently associated with the Jaya School of Architecture, to deliver the welcome address and the welcome note for the guest speaker of the day.
Good evening, everyone. I'm really honored to introduce architect Golak Kandol's skill. And about architect Golak Kandol's skill are more than architecture, restoration, and teaching through meditative practice in drawing. He plays a pivotal role at the Kishenbag restoration project under the flagship of Antil Architecture. From being a makeup artist for Wendy Freeman to being the set designer for Pradeep Krishnan and Arundhati Roy and all his pursuits, he now leads a forum responsible for responsible building. Architect Golak Kandol says that he was born on the east coast of the bank of Karashotrap, the fast one, the rough one, his own gentle river, which makes him cry every now and then with nostalgia. He has declared that his last wish is to be buried on the west coast in a banana or coconut grove, ideally in Kerala. This is his way of addressing his disapproval of borders and boundaries. Just about everything in life does not have any definite boundaries. It's all a wonderful blur which he rejoices. He likes to be in that twilight zone all the time, floundering. We are honored to have you with us, sir. Welcome from the School of Architecture.
And I grew up with a primary dream of teaching primary school children because I went to a really bad school in an industrial township called Rourkela. And my father, who hadn't gone to school, taught himself and taught us. And then in the bad schools, I had some freak teachers who taught me wonderful stuff. And I was in a Odia medium school. I learned to study English, and I remember reading a book about Nehru. It said he was the architect of the nation, architect of modern India. And I wanted to check what architecture means or architect means. And then the architecture bug bit me, and I landed up in School of Architecture. And the day I walked in, I also wanted to leave because I realized I was in the shadow of this multi-story called Delhi Development Authority, very ugly concrete building, and I wanted to run away. Then I met a person called Gerard Dicuna, famous architect from Goa, who had just come back working with Baker and Jeffrey Baba. He said, no, you can build small things and beautiful things in the countryside. So that actually made me stay back. Then I had Arundhati and a person called Jhabala, who was the head of the department. They also encouraged me. Anyway, so I did all kind of things, but finally, what took me to architecture is when I went to a school that Baker had designed in Kerala to teach art. And there, I found a lot of problems with Baker's buildings, not because he was a bad architect, but there was bad communication. He had a fight with the lady who owns the school, the great Mrs. Roy. And so he ran away, leaving postcard-sized drawings. I also don't do big amount of working drawings, but I made it a point to hang around the site, and I made my clients draw, and they became my teachers. And I got everybody involved, including the last guy in the row who will put the last nut or last bolt. But I mean, I did all kind of things and finally landed up building my partner Pradeep Krishnan's house in the Central India jungle in Satpura National Park. And that's where my journey really began with environmental work. Because when I asked him to design and draw, and then I'll just be the construction manager, that led to our journey together, learning about trees, because I didn't want to use timber to begin with, and I didn't want to use teak, which is, it's like it's being produced as like they're cultivating a monoculture. So I wanted to run away from there. But that led to learning about trees and plants. And this Kishanbagh project in Jaipur actually is not my single brainchild. There are three more people. Pradeep Krishan, he was invited to do the project and he dragged me in to do the architecture bit of it. But we've been planting more trees than building, you know. But when I was building Pradeep's house, that's where I mean, I was already very lazy and I can sing the glory of laziness. I didn't want machines. So we're digging the foundation and I found a little uh, fungus garden of the ants, red ants or white ants, you know, and that was fascinating. And if I had done a JCB or a bulldozer or an earth mover, I wouldn't have seen that. And then my connection with earth became very, very strong. You know, 40 years, 35 years from now, I realize I love flora and fauna, but my trinity is now flora and fauna and fungus. You see, I don't know whether you people know, our entire ecosystem, the trees, the plants, the grasses, people, everybody's connected to underground through the network of mycelium, which is, fungus, it's also called fungus. Mushrooms are the fruiting body of fungi. And you see, all our agriculture happens using fungicide. So how can we get good food? Tell me, you know? And so basically, we humans, the way our anthropocentric way of thinking has brought about such a lot of damages that it's going to take maybe, like another billion years to rectify things. I will jump, many things that I had planned to say, but let me come down to what my immediate concern is. Recently, I went to Bihar, to a place called Bodh Gaya, then I went to Aurangabad, and I went to see a river where I couldn't see the river. It was not there. It was gone. 20 years time, it's gone. And why did I go there for after 20 years? Because 20 years back when I'd gone there, there was no electricity. And I thought that was super, because the way they figured out the sanitation system, was like so advanced, really. They were doing open air, like they relieve themselves open air, but in a very organized way, not the street side thing that we see in urban situations. There was a plan, which family gives which land for how many years and how many years for it to be processed by sun and rain. And so I thought that was truly a very, very sophisticated system. And I wanted to go and see if there was electricity. And there was electricity, and that is the end of our my ideal situation. So then I said, I want to go and meet my river, and the river wasn't there, because people there, they use the English term. They said, oh, sand mining mafia log, sab log nadi ko khatam kar diya. They killed the river, the sand mining mafia. Then I was crying there. I sat there and looked at the horizon, and the granite hill was also being scrunched away, munched away. Why? Because we people are so clever that if we finish sand, all of you know the problem about sand mining. And if we run out of sand, then why don't we use stone dust? So we start blasting hills, to realize that these hills, whether they're bauxite hill or the iron ore hills, they're basically our aquifers. They are the water source. So first you kill the river, then you kill the source of the river, and you think you're very smart. And why do we need sand? 50 years back, the big cement drama started when Vivigiri gave up, saying, some friends of mine who were doing alternative cement factory in Wardha with fly ash, their factory collapsed, and they went to meet Vivigiri, and the president said, what can I do? My boys, the president is not at all, doesn't have any power in front of the cement lobby. And who brought cement? Chacha Nehru. You got Corbusier, then Louis Kahn came, and we madly copying them, aping them, And okay, I'm not questioning the existence of cities. We need them. We always needed cities, like in the past. But we cannot afford to propagate this theory about turning the whole country into a city. We need the villages, we need the jungle, we need the rivers, we need open air place, we need the oxygen, you know. I mean, the cyclone that happened in Odisha or any kind of disaster, the flood in the Uttarakhand, it's all because of our human negligence. You know, the last project, the Kishan project we are talking about, we are called to do some, what do you call it, ornamental garden, but we landed up, Pradeep just decided to choose, Pradeep Krishan decided to choose a really battered piece of 800 acres of land, which was completely in, like in a very bad state because thanks to the human intervention on the Aravalli Hills, there was a couple of flash floods, and this fossil dune, 800 acres of fossil dune, became like Chambal ravines, you know. So we went there and we started planting local species. And after the initial 6 months or something, we didn't have to even water ever, you know. And can you believe that all my shelters for the exhibition area, we have these interpretation islands for botany, for stone, for rocks, for fossils, for uh, the way sort of evolution happened. That for that we did basically organic roofs. First, we put babul, the acacia thorns, which people use as roofing material. If you look at YouTube, dunes of Jaipur, you'll see a lot of people have been uploading lots of visuals, lots of videos. You see, it's just crazy. We can't handle the crowd on every day. 3,000 people come. They flood the place, but it's become such an education hub because suddenly people got to know that you can build without cement, without steel, without pesticide, without any chemicals. And there are 40 species, 60 species of white ants in Jaipur and Jodhpur. And I've used a lot of timber. Nothing is being eaten up. It's crazy. I mean, you cannot keep blaming, the suppliers, the engineers, the contractors, and see, I haven't been fighting with nature. I don't even use what you call chemical waterproofing. That's why I'm so upset that Korea did this place, the great Korea, when he did the project in Bhopal, the Bharat Bhavan, it got flooded. We lost paintings, we lost books because, like everybody else, use commercial what do you call waterproofing compound. They all have what do you call self-life. Even pesticide, they say pesticide. They say 5 years self-life, and we come back to you. But pesticide doesn't die. Like your soul never dies. So they go and join the water source, and we basically kill ourselves. And as architects and engineers, we all got blood on our hand because we're racing because we say we don't have time. One of my big realizations in the last 2, 3 months is that I have made friends with time and space. So I have all the time in the world. I will never say I don't have any time, you know, and the time can be a roller coaster ride, and it can kill you, like time and tide, both. Tide, if you don't know how to do surfing, tide can crash you onto the surface, and on the surface of the sea, and you can die. And but I have roller coaster rides with time, and sometimes it slows down and heals my soul, you know and I can be very happy with the tiny space which you cubic meter, and you leave me in a jet plane up in the sky, in the never-ending akhanda and ananta space. I'm very happy there. And love is like that. Knowledge is like that. There's no beginning and no end. There's very little difference between a lot of knowledge and no knowledge, actually. You see? So we shouldn't be panicking about grabbing and snatching, whether it's knowledge or money or resources or time and space. And I mean, as architects, engineers, we have to all wake up that we've lost our rivers, losing our hills, we're losing, like there's so much damage that's happened to the environment that imagine blowing up rocks that are 2 billion years old. Can we make stones? We cannot. I'm into not even using earth when it's processed. Like I want to use burn bricks, you know. I'll use earth maybe, but imagine the rice belts or the agriculture places, we depend on the topsoil, you know. And we cannot afford to do that. I realize in Assam and other places, they do really thin daub structures, what you call wattle and daub structure. In Shimla, I saw the English people have done very thin mud walls. You know, it's not flat wall. We have to question the system going back in time, maybe 2 to 3,000 years. Then all the knowledge we've got from that many thousand years back is not necessarily the biggest thing, but what you're learning in schools of architecture, in schools of engineering, is like dangerous. We have to wake up. We have to wake up. I keep telling my students that you have to question everything. Do we need doors and windows? Do we need houses? Do we need a floor? Do we need a roof? You know, like Binoba Bhave, when he was asked by the Bajaj family to do a memorial, they said, "Can we do a memorial for you?" He says, "Yeah, please do a memorial without a roof and without walls." You have to see that beautiful garden that they made, very sensible. And I don't go to college to teach. I call my students to come out. Like SPA has offered me full-time job. Sushan School has offered me full-time job. I refuse to go and teach in buildings. So my students come out into Lodi Garden, Jama Masjid, Qutub Minar, sometimes fish market in Nizamuddin, and we have a ball and we learn so much. And I was telling Anita ji the other day that I had this big dream 30 years back, which I happened to write that proposal in the middle of the night in Bapukuti about an all India cycling tour where students can go around recording architecture by non-architects. Their life sense, not our, engineering thing that we've learned over the last, 70 years. Tell me, my friends, what was happening before you architects and engineers came into being? We built. We have built very sensible buildings. And so we have to step back, we have to take a look at what all damages we've done, and we have to be responsible. And now I say we have to use building materials that we can regenerate in no time, between 3 months and 3 years, maybe 3 years is bamboo, that's extreme. And all the roofs I've done, all the shelters I've done in Jaipur, they're made of twigs and thorns and grasses that we managed growing in like 3 months, 6 months. And so like, okay, the big cities. The other day, a friend of mine was calling from Baltimore. And I said, what are those buildings made of? Have they used cement? He said, no, this is lime. So we took something like 2 years to fight with the Jaipur government authority to get lime into our picture. Jodhpur project was already, because it was Mehrangarh Museum Trust, they had already introduced lime to their life. But see, I mean, my thing about the sun thing went like really crazy because I met some Rajasthani masons who are working in South India, with, I mean, you guys are lots of architects in, below Bhopal. They've been using lime and surki. They're not, I know Kerala, they're doing scuba diving to get sand out of the river from the vallams, But we have to wake up. We have to stop exploiting the rivers and the hills and the forests. And coal, my God, how can you replace coal? How can you replace petroleum? How can you replace bauxite or iron ore? And it is possible to build without all this high energy material. I mean, why are we talking about permanence? We build big buildings so that our children, their children can stay. They all go to America, they don't come back. Little, people from little villages go to little towns, and from little towns to bigger towns, and bigger towns to New Delhi, to New Delhi, to New York. There's no end to it. And my last thing I would say, I am reading a book by Tony Joseph called Early Indians. You see, like at the equator, what is the speed of the Earth? We think we are still. And if you are at the equator, you are traveling at 16,000 kilometers an hour. At the pole, maybe zero, but we think we're still, our mind is still, it's not. So what are we speeding for? What are we speeding for? Tell me. The galaxy, the Milky Way, their speed is even like, you can't even imagine. And that's that speed, that's about timing. And space, where did it start, where did it finishes? We don't know. Time is the same thing, and resources and love is the same thing. I plant seeds of love in people's hearts and minds, and they grow to be humongous tree. I don't earn money. I live like a king, and so do my friends. Where is the question of flapping around for architectural 4% fee, 5% fee, or whatever? Architects, all of us, we think, what are we going to get? How much money will we get? Can we all say, what can we give back? We have anything, forget about giving back. What do I have to offer? I think that's it. That's it. That's all I have to say. That we have to step back instead of racing like maniacs. Friends call me mad molecule because I do too many things. But honestly, I'm quite still in my mind. That's why I've survived. Otherwise, I would have gone insane looking at all the ugliness around us that we've created. I don't know how we survived with all the ugliness. We've created so much beauty in the past, whether it's temples or the vernacular architecture, the forest, the river, around us. How can we indulge in, speeding with time? How can we be so arrogant about speeding with time and, and wanting to have more and have more and have more? We all have to calm down. We have to be still. We have to hold on to our center. That's it. Thank you very much.
That was a very, actually, to have you in a part of this session, it's a great privilege for us, the team of Jaya. Thank you so much. It was so nice hearing from you. And we feel there's a lot of responsibility that we have to conserve nature, to create a better future for the people around, for the society as such. As an architects, we will take up your advice and plant things as advised by you, sir. And me and the team of Jaya and the students here will need a lot of guidance and support from you to take up this much forward in the near future. Thank you, sir.
There's this song I keep hearing in my mind, cry me a river, because I cried a river for you.
I know, sir. I know. And ma'am had told a lot about you, so thank you so much. And I now request our Dean ma'am to deliver the vote of thanks and a few words for the guest speaker for the day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Kavita. We are very honored, Architect Golab, that you came to address your passion with our students and the entire team who have joined today. You have indeed been the voice of the conscience and a need to sensitize all the coming generations because we need to preserve our mother. I agree to everything that you spoke about, and we truly hope that this voice lingers in the hearts of all these young budding architects out here, that we all become responsible in what we are contributing into this earth, because all that architects leave are monuments, eternal monuments, which can be damaged.
Inflation of the ego, and it's never one person's work anyway, so we have to also understand that.
Yes. So yes, you have been that voice to cry out inside to each of the architects that we have a responsibility towards Mother Earth. In our fast-paced life of trying to achieve great technology and great, beautiful forms, let us keep in mind what we are doing to the earth. This is also something which is very necessary in this point of time. Thank you so much, Golab, for joining us today.
Thank you all so much for letting me speak, lending me your ears, and I'm going to send images, independently, and you can share that with students. And if I get a chance, I'll come to Chennai. I've been there only once in my life for one day.
We look forward to that.
Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing you all in person.
Thank you very much, sir.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, audience, for being patient with us when we had the technical snag. Let's meet again.
I apologize.
Issues happens. And we'll meet again on Monday, 6:30. Thank you very much.